My film is about propaganda. But what does it mean, propaganda? Good propaganda is not telling lies. Good propaganda is to tell the truth in a certain way. For a movie like this, like Hitler's Hollywood, there's more than one motivation. In general, first of all, it's very simple. This movie was not made before. There is no documentary on Nazi cinema. And I think cinema is something we should talk about and tell about in cinema. And one general idea of the film is that you cannot divide entertainment and propaganda. But in entertainment, there is a lot of propaganda. And in good propaganda, there is much entertainment. So my interest was to show this connection. This is a way to connect it and to answer for myself. I think most Germans, for sure when you study history, there is one point when they want to answer, how was it possible? How did it work? Why was there Nazi regime and the murder of many million people? As cinema was, besides radio, the main media of that time, it was for everyone. It was a classless media, you might say. I wanted to come back to the cinema and look out if I maybe find an answer to the question why. First of all, when the war started, there is a difference. Because when the war started, it's clear you have dead people in your own country. You have suffering. You have shortage of food, for instance, of energy. The films before the war, they were kind of showing the Nazi way of life. In the time of the war, it was more about escapism, 2-3 nice hours in the middle of hell, even when the Germans were winning. And of course it was serving to the cause. Yeah, there are films which are motivation films, which tell the audience war is good and we will win. Then there are films which are hate films. They show we have to beat the British because the British are evil. Or they show we have to kill the Jews. And it is not so easy to kill many people. So you need films, for instance, to bring you over the point of no return.
Sitzt da nun der unselige Jude. Monatelangen Verhandlungen hat nichts weiter für sich vorbringen können als Lügen.
As longer the war goes on, there are two things. One thing is that the films are more and more fantasy. Immediately when the Nazis conquered power, they started in making propaganda films. All films in Germany are propaganda films. And it is quite clear, it is outspoken. There was the freedom of the film industry was limited from the first moment on, and it was more and more limited. And at the end, all cinema was state cinema. You cannot influence by force. You have to influence by temptation and by sympathy. So, as I said before, what is propaganda? Propaganda, it has to be entertainment. Yeah, it has to be funny. It has to be nice. You have to want to look at it. And you have to swallow the message without realizing you are swallowing the message. So you had to show Nazi power, but you had to show it in a temptuous way. I don't think that totalitarian propaganda would have worked so well without the images. So without photography and cinema, no, I cannot imagine. Because it's about the power of images, of course, combined with sound. But we have to think about that this party convention was maybe seen by 100 or 200,000, and let it be 500,000. Yeah, that's nothing for a country of 80 million. And in radio, you had more. Radio was important. And radio is interesting because it's about fantasy. You have images, but in your head. Not on screen. Screen, cinema and TV and so on, this means kind of that you have a kind of brainwashing. If you listen to the radio, everyone has a different image in his head. If you put the image on screen, you have the same image for everyone. I think cinema has the same power as a medium for propaganda, and images have even more power. We live in times after a visual term, and we live in times of so-called fake news. And it's very simple. Images have the power to destroy truth. It's all about images, and we are living in the time of the rule of images. And I cannot imagine. I can imagine many brutal dictatorships, but where they're without cinema, but not a totalitarian one.